Welcome back to day 2 of our Open SciEd learning pathway. Today, you'll have the opportunity to dive deeper by selecting a unit to explore and seeing how Open SciEd materials support student-driven learning. First, we'd love to talk about the work you all did last week and respond to your feedback. Last week's video helped you realize or reinforce the idea that Open SciEd units are very coherent and aligned with the goals and the 3 dimensions of NGSS. They have well-developed storylines that center student questions and experiences and the co-creation of knowledge. Your excellent takeaways are definitely some of the reasons I believe in Open SciEd for science teaching. You also brought up some great questions and concerns about the constructivist style, which may lead to off-topic questions or incorrect explanations from students, worries about differentiation, student participation, and time constraints. I'm going to try to give you some quick answers to those questions as we navigate the Open SciEd website. When you get to the Open SciEd website, you'll see there's a menu at the top with a lot of resources and options. Over here, if you do not have an account, you can choose to register. For some resources, you do need an account to be able to access them. To start off, Lori and I just wanted to show you where all of the videos that we curated are coming from. So Open SciEd offers professional learning that you can pay for, that can either be online or in person. And they offer a lot of videos, which we've shared with you in our presentation. When you go to professional learning, you can click on professional learning for teachers, and it will take you to this website where you can see there are a lot of different options. If you want free and instant access to the video learning, you click on On-Demand Teacher Support, and that takes you to a couple different resources. First, it tells you where you can find different Facebook groups about Open SciEd. And then as you scroll down, you can see there are videos about all of the different instructional strategies and the different units for each section. And then finally, you'll see at the end some kind of miscellaneous resources. So this is a great place where you can go to watch videos about anything that you're interested in. The real reason that we use the Open SciEd website, though, is for the curricular resources, which are all free. So if I want to get to those resources, I go to curriculum and I choose my particular section. There are a few differences between the different sections and the resources that they offer. We can go to elementary. I'll talk about that in a moment. Middle school resources are the oldest. They were the first resources that were released. And you can see when you click on instructional materials, it gives you the option of grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, 6 units per grade level. And all of them have anchoring phenomena and driving questions, and they're really great resources. High school is divided a little bit differently in that the high school instructional materials are by biology, chemistry, and physics, and they have either 5 or 6 units. Going back to elementary, which is the newest curricular resource, the first units were just released in August of 2024. And lucky you, the second set of units are going to be released tomorrow, or if you're watching this after Thursday, then Thursday, February 20th. So because Open SciEd participates in such a rigorous process of review and it's really, really iterative, they are communicating with teachers all over and students all over and getting feedback from them to make their units universally designed so that they're taking into account feedback and changing the units. Consequently, they take a long time to release each unit. So like I said, their first unit was released for elementary in August of 2024. The second one released Thursday, February 20th. And then the last 2 elementary units for each grade level will be released in fall of 2025 and winter of 2026. So each grade level in elementary will have a total of 4 different units. If you want to take a look at the units in elementary or any of them, you go to instructional materials and you'll see all of the grade levels. And like I said, right now you'll only see access to the first unit of every grade level. I'm going to take a look at grade 4, which has an awesome anchoring phenomenon that many of our students can relate to, kicking a soccer ball and other sports that have pucks or balls. So when you click on unit overview, it takes you to this website where you can see this essential question: why does an object's motion change? And you have a couple different options to focus on the right side of the screen. Download this unit storyline. The unit storyline will take you to an overview of the entire unit and how it plays out. If you choose download this unit, you'll come to 2 choices. You can use Google Drive, or you can download the PDFs, a teacher edition and a student edition. The Google Drive is super well organized by lesson. It also has the teacher guide PDF in it. I prefer to use the PDF because it's all in one place. So I'm just going to show you a couple things from the PDF in a minute. The last thing I wanted to show you before I dive a little bit deeper into the unit is the materials list. So like I said in the first video, OpenSciEd is completely free in terms of all of the resources it offers, but it is materials heavy because we want students to actually be doing science, and in order to do science, they need materials. So by having the resource be free, that opens us up to spend our money on materials and professional learning. So eventually they may have science kits that are available internationally, but this year with our middle school and elementary school teachers, we have actually gotten the materials locally from a variety of different places. If you're lucky enough to have Amazon, that also helps. And the materials are actually shown in 2 different ways. You can also download an Excel file that shows you all of the materials. And I'm going to see if it loaded. Okay, so here we go. You get a grid view and you get a card view. The great thing about this is they suggest the number of materials you need for each class. They show you pictures. So if you can find something locally that's similar, you can use the picture to do that. And it's just a very organized thing, which unfortunately, here we go. So as you can see, we need soccer balls, 2 per class. Later on in another activity, you need marbles, 10 to 15 marbles per small group. And you can get all sorts of information. You can get an Amazon link, what they look like, and how many you would need if you have 32 students per class, based on what OpenSciEd recommends for small groups. So that's a really great resource as well. When you get to the teacher guide, you'll see it's incredibly long, and we said that's one of the drawbacks. Teachers definitely need a lot of time to be able to fully use this resource, but we are always in process. We're always learning new things. So there are lots of ways that by focusing on a couple of the elements, we can still transform our science teaching to be truly 3-dimensional, use the OpenSciEd resource, and create great experiences for our student learning. So if you look at the table of contents, it's not super detailed and doesn't give you a lot of information about what is contained in these 398 pages. When I started working with our elementary teachers, I kind of put together some highlights of what what Open SciEd offers in the teacher guide. So there is kind of a unit overview that gives you a big picture of the unit. There is the storyline that I already talked about. There's a really great resource, which is the assessment overview, and then also the lesson by lesson assessment opportunities, which go into detail telling you exactly what you could be focusing on, which of the dimensions, which part of each dimension in the NGSS performance expectation you could be looking for during a particular lesson. They also have student handouts, graphic organizers. Some of those function as formative assessments. They also have summative assessments. And another great thing that I loved about Open SciEd is they're using the same assessment language that we're using in school. There are student handouts for almost all of the lessons. There are lesson snapshots, which kind of give you like hints at each part, but don't go into super depth and details. But Open SciEd also offers that depth and details in what I'm calling the unabridged lesson. Everything you could possibly want to know about a lesson is in that unabridged lesson, including sample anchor charts, sample student responses, what you could go around asking as students are doing the activity. It's all there in that unabridged lesson. There are also teacher references for each lesson. It talks about safety, and then also some timing considerations, which was one of our questions in the feedback. So the unit, the teacher guide has a lot of different items. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, two things. The question about students participating and feeling like they have something to contribute. And I think that Open SciEd does a really good job of setting that up at the beginning of the unit. They have an entire lesson that's devoted to defining class norms and what it means to be a scientist. And it really gives the message that everyone is a scientist, all ideas are valid. And the idea is that as we do the science, we learn that maybe our idea had some kind of misconception, and that based on the evidence from the activities we do, we can actually change how we're thinking, and that will lead us to understanding the science better. In terms of differentiation, I just wanted to show you one lesson. You can see kind of the lesson snapshot. It goes through the materials, a preparation checklist, vocabulary. Vocabulary is one way that they're differentiating for anybody who is a multilingual learner. They talk about ways to assess, and those assessments are not necessarily traditional assessments. They're maybe asking teachers to observe or teachers to listen to conversations, have discussions. So it's a really authentic way to formatively assess what students are understanding and what they're still struggling with. You can also see on the right side of the screen, community connections, which allows students to bring in their own experiences. And obviously, everybody's experience is different. And then you'll also see broadening access, which talks about differentiation. You'll see little tips to help you understand. And for example, going back to the broadening access, they specifically are targeting students who are developing their English language abilities and encourage teachers to use gestures, body movements, and not just focus on speaking. So those are great ways that Open SciEd is trying to help teachers differentiate. The last question that we had in the feedback was about timing. So I wanted to quickly show you in the elementary units, they realized that unfortunately we don't have a lot of time for science in the typical elementary school day. And so you can see here they have a sample implementation calendar, and You can also see, as I said before, that lessons are spread out over multiple days to make it more manageable, especially understanding that maybe we only have 45 minutes of science in a day, so they break it up in that way. The other thing is if you need to shorten or condense a unit, and this is across the board from grades kindergarten all the way through to 12th grade, they actually make recommendations of lessons that you could cut or condense without losing the meaning of the unit. I hope that that little tutorial on navigating the OpenSciEd website was useful. Tonight, to complete your activity, you don't necessarily need the website, but in our presentation, you will find links to all of the different units that OpenSciEd has. So please take this time to take a look at the resources, and don't forget to fill out the feedback form so that we can respond to any questions you have and summarize all of your takeaways in our third and final pathway session next week. Have a great night. Bye.